Hi and welcome back to a new video on my channel where we talk about potentially interesting companies that could potentially be interesting investment opportunities, companies that have a little bit been out of the spotlight, potentially been forgotten, or that could be close to a turnaround. And today we're talking about a company called KERING, and this is a company that is, of course, a fashion company, a high fashion company that unites a lot of luxury brands. So more famous or probably more well known than KERING itself are actually the other brands. Probably you can see them here at the bottom of the website. So Gucci or Yves Saint Laurent, Bottega Venezia, or Balenciaga, McQueen, Brioni. So a lot of very, very established, very high profile, very valuable brands united in this French company. And we will take a look at it, why it could be interesting. So of course, as always, we take a first look at the performance of the company on the stock market, because as potential investors, that's what's interesting. And we see a company that has been on a slide, on a not very pretty downward trajectory. So we really saw the company peaked at a stock price of almost 800 euros back in 2021, and now we're back below 200 euros in 2025, of course. So pretty significant declines. So almost 75% decline. And we will talk a little bit today about what are the reasons for this, and we also will look into the numbers, into the annual reports and the financial reports, to better understand what is going on and to discuss if this potentially could be a turnaround story. So as I said, it's a very interesting combination of brands and of businesses, KERING, that they unite in. And looking at the different brands, I think it's important to understand that there's one brand that is by far the most important one, which is Gucci. And then the other ones become smaller in terms of relevance for the financial performance. But and we also see that Gucci is a brand, the largest brand, which is very much in trouble, which of course is a big problem, minus 23%. But the other brands actually, like especially the eyewear brands, and also Balenciaga, which is smaller brands, they are doing reasonably well. And this is a key point, remember that I will be coming back to. So we've seen Balenciaga as one of the brands, but in terms of their revenue, importance for their revenue, it's a smaller company. But if you like me, then probably Balenciaga is the most well-known brand to you from all of this. So I can only speak for myself. Like for me, Balenciaga really in the recent years, they managed to become part of pop culture. They managed to they have cameos in TV shows, artists talk about this generically. So they've been in The Simpsons.
Come on, you have a thought. Say it. Go ahead. Holy crap. I'm beautiful.
And they've been in there was during the pandemic, there was the famous, or with the rise of the AI, there was this famous Harry Potter AI Balenciaga adaptations that everybody was talking about.
You are Balenciaga, Harry.
And so they're really doing a good job, and I think the designs are also very memorable, so they stick out. So you just notice like something's dark and shiny and like big, a little bit oversized. That's for me is Balenciaga. You immediately recognize it. So really much a brand on the up. Before we talk more about the specific brands and what I think this could mean for a turnaround. Let's look a little bit into the numbers. So why is the stock price going so down? What is the story here? And so we will go into the document which they call the Universal Registration Document. It's, I don't know if anyone knows why they call it that, let me know. It's what I would call an annual report. So with the only difference is not just numbers, it's also like illustrations and more detailed concepts. But they also have an annual report, but they also have this Universal Registration Document. So if you're looking for that. And yeah, we'll just take a look into that, the French CEO, of course. Yeah, just always, I always like to get a look at, okay, what is the strategy or what is like the mission that they put on themselves, and that's always a good point to start, to really understand what they're doing and if they understood the problems that they have. And yeah, they're saying, yeah, we'll manage a lot of renowned brands, and they want to put back the creativity at the heart of the strategy, and they want to remove limits in terms of creative expression to stay relevant in the luxury market of tomorrow. I agree with the strategy, that sounds good to me, and we will talk a little bit later about how this could work out. And as I said before, Gucci, of course, is their most important brand, and that's been struggling the most. So this is important for them to address, and they have addressed this. So they will focus more with Gucci on quality of distribution, and they will bring in back creative heritage. So we will take a look at this, but yeah, I think this is the way to go. Like, as a fashion, of course, fashion is always difficult to anticipate, and it's a difficult investment, a risky investment, because yeah, you can, it's hard to predict. It's hard to predict how new fashion trends or new creative developments with brands will be appreciated by the consumer, by the market. I mean, in some regards, this is true for every brand, but I think for fashion, that's the most. But I think we could, it's still worth taking a look at and checking out if it could be an interesting investment case. All right. So here again, we see the different brands that they have. It's good to take a look at it. And yeah, here we take a look at the highlights. And usually here in this prominent place at the annual report, a company would like to put something pretty, something nice, like, oh, we achieved this, we sold this much more than last year, this year's. And yeah, I mean, they have to be honest. They sold less, so they have a 12% decline in revenue, which is pretty bad. And even more bad than this, they have a 46% decline in operating income or in profit. So that's, yeah, very bad, very bad. Of course, if your biggest brand is struggling, then something like this can happen. And then we see the margin here, 14.9%. It sounds okay. So I think every margin between like 11% and 20% for a clothing brand company is solid. But yeah, I think it has declined significantly from the year before, so it's not that pretty. And yeah, here we see again the margins. So even in the EBITDA, so the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciations, and amortizations, we see a 29% decline. So still pretty significant. And yeah, also free cash flow decreased. So that's always never good if you're a value investor looking for value. So we see cash flow decreasing by 28%. This is also potentially a problem for the dividend. Operating investments plus 27%. So that means that they actually spent more money, which in this case, yeah, it's, of course, you would love to see this number be less, but if it goes up, no. In a crisis, it's actually not that bad. You want somebody in a crisis to invest, to do something. So as they saying themselves here, they bought new properties in Milan, they bought new properties in New York to really invest into having strategic locations in fashion capitals of the world to expand. And yeah, going back to the revenue, that's what we looked before. So we see revenue going down, and I think it's important to take a look at here at the revenues per region. So we see it's pretty well distributed throughout North America, Western Europe, Asia Pacific. But Asia Pacific is the biggest one, and that's a big one for a fashion company, because of course Asia, led by China, is for luxury brands a very important market. So Asian consumers, or Chinese consumers, even more so than Westerners, really value high brands. So of course this is an oversimplification, but the way Asian or Chinese consumers, sorry for the simplification, but Chinese consumers, a lot of times they either buy the very, very cheapest option or the best brand they can get. So the brands that do well in China usually are the ones that are very cheap, or the ones that are very, very high profile. So for that, of course, for a high fashion company with very exclusive brands, is an important market, because the Chinese consumers like those high profile brands. And of course, the Chinese economy has been struggling with the real estate sector and everything, but has been doing better over the last couple of months. So I think this could be one of the motors for a potential turnaround. And some of the key highlights. So this is a very important point for me. So with a brand like this going down, Gucci, they had to do something. And what did they do? They changed leadership. And they have put in charge, here we saw him briefly before on the website. So they have put in charge, here we still see him on the Balenciaga website. They have put in charge a Georgian, sorry for the pronunciation, by Demna Gvasalia. Again, apologies for the pronunciation. And he has been the lead designer for Balenciaga. That's and now, yeah, look at him. I mean, this guy screams Balenciaga to you, just the way he's styled. And now he will be moving on to actually taking on the helm at Gucci. So this is, I think, one of the major decisions here. So what we talked about, like Balenciaga wasn't one of the most, in terms of revenue, significant brands of the overall company. But it's the one that I think makes an impact, and that had the best strategy, and really made an impact on pop culture. And so I really, really like this step that they're bringing in this guy. So he really had a clear style, a clear vision, really made the brand big, and now he's moving on to Gucci, so the bigger brand. So I think the analogy I would like to use is, I don't know, you had this soldier in the army who had like a handgun, and he was the best one. He he saved the whole battalion a couple of times, and now instead of a handgun, you actually give him access to the tank. You give him the tanks, and you say, okay, you were good with the handgun, now let's take the tank and show us what you can do. And I think this is going to be really, really interesting to see. Of course, totally different brands, Balenciaga and Gucci, but I think talent is talent, and I'm interested to see what this guy will be able to do at the helm of KERING's biggest company. And for me, this is the biggest potential for positive turnaround. So as I said, fashion brand, they live off creativity. They live off fashion is not about putting A and B together. It's about infiltrating culture. It's about creating this unspoken importance for wearing a piece of clothes is more of a statement than it is an actual functional piece of clothing, especially at this price range. And this guy is a guy that knows how to do that. Like, I'm not personally a fan of him because he's also done a couple of very controversial photo shoots and stuff, so don't want to really talk about it. You can look into it yourself, but yeah, let's say he's done some very controversial stuff to get attention for his brands, which I don't agree with. But I agree with his style and with his creative vision, and so that's, I think, to me, a very good part. Yeah, and yeah, here, yeah, some more talks, and I think from now it's probably more interesting for us to jump back into the actual annual report. So this is the actual annual report. So the other one was more illustrated, and yeah, here we have the raw numbers. We see revenues down. Yeah, as I said, revenues for the eyewear and these smaller brands, excuse me, actually up. But let me see. Instead of revenues, of course. Yeah, this is not pretty. Cost of sales is down. That's a little bit more reassuring. So they have to spend less on actually creating the demand for the products. Margin is down. That is not good. It should be up. Margin is better when it goes up. Maybe let's have a look at the debt levels, because I think that's always, of course, revenue and debt. I think these, if you know these two numbers or where they're going from a company, then you have a good idea what's really going on. About 2 billion up. So yeah, this is of course a problem. And yeah, so yeah, I hope you got a good understanding of the situation of KERING. We took a look at the company. We found the reasons why it's going down so much. So yeah, important market in China had a problem. They made some mistakes with their main leading brand, Gucci. But yeah, as I said, there are some potentials for turnaround. They did some changes in the leadership. There could be no creative potential unleashed, and their most important market in Asia could be turning around. So as I said, these could be potentials, but yeah, fashion always risky. Take a look at yourself, make yourself aware of the whole circumstances and the numbers before you make any decision. But I just wanted to take a look at the company, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you at the next video.